Okay. Oh, I just realized I had monitors on. Second. We're already starting off with Scuff. Awesome. Hey guys, so anybody who followed me on here from Twitter, I'm lost. I do art, music, kind of my thing. But I haven't streamed in a really long time. And that is mainly because I am terrified of streaming. Always have been. Feels like a giant performance thing that I kind of suck at, but you know, I want to try to get better. Want to try to start streaming again. But if there is anybody in the comments who wants to chat, how's my audio? How's my levels? Is everything working fine? And if nobody's able to type, that's also fine. I'll just start working on what I have and hopefully we'll figure it out. So let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and start creating my folders real quick. We're gonna apply that transformation. So what we have here at the start on the canvas is just the 3D like model I used. I just kind of made like a custom like size model that I use for Hololive characters that fits similar into my particular style of how I draw bodies. And that's typically how I get things done. I just kind of get the idea out and then make a pose afterwards. Oh, thank you. So audio is good? Okay, that's great. But yeah, so we have the 3D model. Essentially what I did is I just have all the poses that I like here and the 3D model itself, which is this custom one I made right here. And that is typically how I start things out. So from that point forward, we're going to have the folder here, which is basically going to have our sketch. So I'm going to go ahead and name it sketch real quick. I like to stay as organized as humanly possible whenever I do art. And that's mainly because without it, I am in trouble. Sure about levels. I'm switching on my laptop. Okay, thank you. Yeah, let me know if anything's off and I'll try to adjust as we go. This is like my first stream in like a very long time, so it's gonna be scuffed as hell. And there's not really much I can do about that. I'll just have to get used to it, you know, like figure out how I do things and how everything's gonna go. But for the most part, I'm happy to have whoever is here and who has time to watch, because I know streaming is a lot, but we're gonna try to just have a relaxed stream and I'm gonna draw. So we have our pose here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna just kind of get the character done. And usually what I like to start with is I just like to do the head. And I'm so used to doing the head the way I've been doing for a long time that it's kind of put me in a position where I'm really used to drawing heads the way I do, to the point where, you know what, why don't I just stop talking and explain it? We're gonna go ahead and start drawing then. I'm gonna adjust my tablet a little bit to give myself more room. And I typically just go straight into it. Like, I've been doing it so long for so many times that like I can just go straight in and do it. Now, I never do it right the first time. Hey Frey, thanks for the raid, man. Let's see here. So what I like to do whenever I kind of mess up the shape of the head a little bit is I use the liquify tool, and I'm going to go ahead and show my settings so you can see what my settings are for liquify. I have the strength at about 30, brush size all the way up, and hardness at 50. There's no anything in the pen pressure. It is just straight up just this. Just the basic. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to kind of follow the chin. Yeah, go find food, Frey. Eating is important. Keeps you alive. So as you can see, the chin isn't pointed center, so we use the liquify tool to kind of adjust and fix. I'm not fully satisfied with this face I've done right now. It's like, it's a little awkward, so I'm gonna just redo it real quick to kind of correct the mistakes that I made. And bear with me, my microphone is a little bit in the way, so I'm kind of playing at a handicap right now because I bought this crane arm for my microphone, And apparently my microphone is too heavy for it, so that's awesome. So it's just gonna be in the way. So we're gonna see what I can do, kind of put in a position where I can't adjust things properly. So I'm actually gonna make the curve here of the side of the head a little more extreme. And we're gonna adjust the size of the head. It's not gonna stay this big. I just like to draw the head big because it feels good for me. You should see me whenever I do traditional artwork. It's oh, thank you. Casually, is that peer or pair? Sorry, I'm slightly dyslexic, so like every time I read names, I butcher them. So sorry in advance if I butcher your name. Hello, hello. So let's see here. Just gonna move the head here. Yeah, I might, next time I get a little bit of extra money, like, purchase a better arm for my microphone, because it is so obnoxiously in the way that it's, like, driving me a bit bonkers. I'm gonna adjust my tablet, see if I can give myself just a little more room. Let's see here. So, like, that's a solid start for the head. I'm gonna adjust things just ever so slightly where the cheek is, just to kind of give a little more roundness. You can probably tell by all the weird keybinds I'm missing right now that I am uncomfortable. But we'll survive. Okay. So we have the basic head. We're just going to kind of mold it with the liquify tool till we get something that is more properly shaped. I actually would recommend practicing using the liquify tool. It really, really does fix things and kind of helps you treat your artwork almost like clay. And that really does help. So I do actually fully recommend getting used to the liquify tool. It is awesome. Okay. So we have the basic head here. We have what we want to do. I have the head turned a bit more to the side here, but I might not do that in the finished product. Really, the 3D model or the references you use should be used mainly as guides and not full on as something you're just copying, because 3D models don't really fit anime too well unless they're just like actual anime 3D models themselves, but they just get the point across. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm just going to go to edit, I'm going to transform it, I'm going to flip it to see if it still looks good flipped, and it does. So now we're going to start drawing the body, and we're going to start getting everything done. Now, my goal for this artwork today is to at least get to where the character is fully designed, and maybe some base colors. I don't know if we're going to have enough time to go full on into rendering. We may save that for tomorrow. I'm going to start trying to stream a whole bunch, get comfortable, start figuring out who I am as a streamer, and hopefully people like it. But also, if I'm too rambly and ranty, like, just let me know. I'll, like, tone it back. Just, I will figure it out. Let's see here. So, with this particular character, you'll notice that her shoulders are rolled. So we want to keep that in mind while we're doing the character. So we're going to have kind of the traps come out like this. And we are going to kind of add the shoulders here. So it's like the basic idea. We're going to have the other trap kind of come out like this, because the neck is more centered. So we're kind of just figuring it out. And I may be adjusting the head. Also, quick note, I need to adjust this drawing a bit, because I drew the head on the same layer as the neck and the body, and I don't typically do that, and that's purely because I'm nervous right now. But what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of separate it from the head a bit. That way the head is on its own layer. That way if we need to adjust the body type or anything, we have that. So I'm going to rename this as layer 2. So now what we can do is we can just take the head, and anytime we need to resize it, we just resize it like that. Which is actually what I'm going to do, because I want the head to be a little bit smaller. Um, Let me go ahead and save real fast. We're gonna be doing an artwork of Bay from Hololive, who's absolutely one of my favorites to draw. She actually used to be one of the hardest for me to draw, believe it or not. The multicolored hair is incredibly difficult to get right, and it was incredibly intimidating. I have like a comfort zone with like certain things that I like to draw, but you know, you have to get out of your comfort zone if you want to see any improvement. So what we got here? Let's see here. So if you notice, right here, let me switch to red so you can see. So right here, if we highlight it, there is going to be like a bend in the arm right here. And we want to keep that in mind whenever we are drawing the arm here. We want to make sure we imply the elbow, because the arm is pressing inward. The elbow is not protruding, it's actually going inside of the arm. So we're gonna kind of have to imply that with line art, and then we'll erase the line art and apply it through rendering. A lot of anime looks best when the shading and the implication is made, not necessarily the line art. If you have too much line art in what you're doing, you actually lose something. You will actually lose clarity. Now, granted, there are some people who are really, really good with lines. Lines are their focus. But when it comes to rendering digital anime art, you want to focus less on lines and more on the rendering itself. And this was something I had to learn about like a year and a half ago. So it's really important that when you're first starting out, learn how to draw it first, then learn how to pull back. A lot of what makes our work look professional is understanding when to take away and when to add. So we have kind of the shape of the arm here. And I'm not going to follow the 3D model one-to-one because it's doing some things I don't actually care for. So we are. Also, apologies for the really old music. I don't actually have a playlist that I have for streaming yet. I'm probably gonna like talk to my friends, figuring out what I should do about music later on. So we have kind of the idea. Now, if you notice, the shoulder's a bit rough here, so we're gonna just use the liquify tool. And I probably should install the little widget that allows me to show my keybinds as I'm using them. I didn't think about that before the stream today. We'll try to do that for next time. The idea we're going to kind of imply here. Now, let's see. Do I want the chest? Yeah, I could have my music covers, but I'll probably get copyright ID'd. But I do have some stuff that I make by myself. I have like huge like catalog of unfinished artwork that I could just use the instrumentals for. So that might actually work. Sure, I'm fully convinced of that arm pose. Lord, this song is practically a meme at this point. Okay. So we have the basic idea here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a separate layer here, and I'm going to kind of figure out the box that the character's in, kind of imply everything. So I'm just figuring out the perspective real quick, and we're going to erase this after I kind of figure it out. So yeah, seems about right. So it's not necessarily a pretty guide, but it'll kind of like make sure I'm in the right place. But through doing that, I have now realized that the other arm here is a bit too protruded. So we're just going to kind of adjust. Let's see here. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of adjust the angle a bit. We're going to kind of move it a bit more in line to give us kind of that 3D perspective a bit more. Yeah, that's more correct. That's more what the actual 3D pose is doing. So we're just going to kind of figure it out here. Yeah, but it would actually be more up here now that I think about it. Yeah, we're just going to keep it as a box. If I add too many layers, it's just going to complicate things. So what we're going to do now is we're going to kind of adjust a bit. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So let's go ahead and get the pelvis in. Yeah, okay. We are. So I think we would have a bit more movement like that. We are. Because Bay is a bit of a skinnier character, she's gonna have the pelvic bone actually push back, which is what this lump is right here. Just kind of adjusting as we go. And now we're going to get the thighs in. And thighs are something that are actually very difficult whenever you're first starting out to figure out how to place properly. Go. So we have the idea. Now we kind of need to adjust the arms a bit because they need to kind of work with what we have. So I'm going to change this arm entirely. It just isn't it's not dynamic enough. It feels stiff now. So I'm going to just change this entirely. Let's figure out what we can do. Let's see. I gotta think for a moment. What can I do? Just leaning back. So let me add it back and let me think for a moment. So what I'll do instead is we're gonna kind of draw the breasts just ever so slightly. Real quick. It's nothing too crazy. One of these layers is the right layer. There we go. So we're going to remove some of the guides. That way we just have the body we're using. So you'll see, as I erase the guides, everything that I kind of figured out how it goes. We're gonna kind of go back and we're gonna this. Okay, yeah, we have a bit of a curve there. It's better. So we're gonna kind of have just a belly button right about there. Here's the thing. I have all this detail on the body and it's all gonna disappear once I add the clothes. Like, it's just gonna be gone. Not really much I can do about that. It's you draw a body, you're super proud of it, but you know, clothes have to go on, especially whenever you're doing a stream or any video. Personally have no problem with drawing things that are a little more NSFW since I moved out and have my own place now, but it's one of those situations where you kind of have that old like habit of you can actually develop a habit of like unintentionally censoring things as an artist after you get used to it for so long. You start to have like a sixth sense for like how to censor things and to kind of imply things rather than actually doing them. So in a weird way, like drawing straight up like NSFW turns into a situation where you're fighting things you've been doing for a long time. So you get kind of in a comfortable position. You have to unlearn it. It's kind of weird. You wouldn't think it would be as difficult as it is, but like it's kind of like patting your head and rubbing your stomach. Thank you. How long have you been seeing my work? This is my first time seeing you on chat. Nice to see you. It's KFab Bun, right? I'm pronouncing that correct? Let's see here. And I'm just not fully sure what to do with this arm. It just doesn't feel like it's doing enough. That's like, I've kind of locked myself into this pose, unfortunately, now that I'm paying attention, because structurally her balance needs to do what the 3D model is doing. So oh yeah, okay, cool, nice. Thank you for checking out my Twitter. just a heads up if you follow me on Twitter. I do what borderline shit posts very often. I'm unapologetically goofy at almost every point in my life. It annoys the crud out of my family. Let's see here. I think that'll work. But I really want to draw the hands. Like, feels like I'm hiding the hands, and hands are super expressive. So let me, instead of hiding them, I'll show what I can, but we'll just have the hand kind of go down here like she's kind of holding on to whatever she's sitting on. Yeah, I think that'll work. Yeah, it's funny because all my art friends stream, and I've always been so cowardly when it comes to streaming. But I really want to try. I want to do what I can, and we won't just do art streams. We'll figure out other things as well. But this is just what I'm good at, so it's what I'll do for now. So yeah, and then let's have this finger kind of protruding a bit. So yeah, well, yeah, that works. Go down. Guess that works. I'll fix it later, but like for now, that'll work. Yeah, I think that'll work for now. I think the thighs might be a bit on the large side compared to how she's sitting. Okay, that's the issue with the hands. I just figured it out. They're out of perspective. They're not quite turned correctly. So we're gonna fix that real quick. Nice. All right. Well, I'm glad you don't mind shit posting. I definitely do that a lot. So now we'll kind of adjust a bit. This. Yeah, it has been really nice though. I've had a bunch of my friends kind of cheer me on to do streaming again, and we're gonna try. But yeah. So have you guys been good? Anything going on with y'all lately? Hopefully everything's bueno. Like things, especially if you're in the U.S. right now, are kind of bonkers. But I also feel like the whole world is bonkers, and it always has been, and it always will be. So we'll have to figure this stuff out. Oh yeah, so I actually got diagnosed with like oh goodness, like the full diagnosis was like I completely forgot what it was. The point is, it's a version of insomnia that like kind of goes hand in hand with like a level of like mental illness. So it's one of those things where the more I don't even know how to describe it. Like my doctor described it a very specific way, but I don't remember. Yes, I gotta eat. But speaking of which, I gotta take a drink real quick. All right. Anyway, yeah, no, I struggle to sleep. I'm on all kinds of medication to help me sleep at night, and it works a good like maybe 40% of the time. It's really brutal. I get delirious at night. I get very. In fact, it's one of those things where I feel like it would be safer if I hid my phone in the middle of the night because my mind just starts racing and I'm like it's doing stupid things and then I make a stupid tweet. I've never made a tweet in that state that's been bad because luckily whenever I do something stupid, it's not stupid in a way that's offensive to anyone. It's just me saying like, "Oh my god, did he really just say that?" You know, that type of deal. Um like the worst I get in my delirious state is I turn into full on dad humor. I start telling dad jokes and like horrible puns. So, I'm glad that's my thing that I do and not something really really bad. Um which is funny cuz I think my parents told me that whenever I was under anesthesia for a surgery one time that I turn into like the I love you guy, like this, the drunk guy who's like talking about like you guys are all my favorite. You guys are my favorite. Like apparently that's me on anesthesia. I actually expected that I would be like cursing like a sailor because I do it around my friends, but apparently not. Apparently I just start telling everyone how great they are and how much I love them. But I also don't know if my family's just telling me that because I don't know what I'm like under anesthesia. They don't record it, so which personally I think that means I have a good family that they don't record me in that state. So I appreciate my family. I have a good family. I am so fortunate to have a good family. Like there was a time in my life where like I whined and complained about my family, and then I started like getting out in the real world. I'm like, oh no, I have a good one. Tony Bomboozled, thank you for the follow. How are you? Let's see here. I just been yammering since I started and I haven't made much progress. Typically I'm faster than this, but I'm kind of enjoying the vibe right now. Every time the chat starts to get a bit more busy and they bring up a topic, it's like this is like the part of streaming I like. The just the goofiness and being able to tell stories. Cause I like to tell stories. I have a whole lot of them. I've lived a full life in my short 30 years on this earth. Yeah. But oh goodness. Actually, this might be a fun story. I actually did some modeling in college. That was a lot of fun. Like, let's see if I can um it was very briefly for like a very short stint of time. I tried they give you like this card whenever you do that. Um or at least they did with me. They're like, here's your card. This has all your information on it. When you go to a photographer, if they want to use you, you hand them the card. They look through it, and like it's almost like a resume. Uh, like it has like stats on it. I don't know how to describe it. It's weird, but I I just did it for like I didn't think it was like a year, and like the part of that like paid for like pieces of my college. But I also went into college for art, but I finished as a phlebotomist later in life. Okay, I'm really not thrilled with the other leg and how it's going, but we will figure it out. Okay, I'm gonna kind of follow the curve here and kind of figure out where everything is. Okay, yes, so that'll work. So we'll just do this. I think my neighbors are having a party. Um, my best friend actually is a rad tech, and he like it was weird. We didn't pick medicine, but we just decided that medicine would work. Hey, how's it going? El Camino. Is that how you pronounce it? But yeah, so I went into medicine because first off, I like people. I always have. I I understand that the human race as a whole is like not fully awesome, but I still just love people. Um like people hear me complain all the time, but like the reality is I enjoy the company of human beings. I'm a very social person in a certain amount of doses. I do kind of get tired the longer I socialize. Okay, I do need to fix this thigh. It is not as thick as the other one. It's driving me crazy. But I like people. I'm a bit of an extrovert. Like I'm in the middle when it comes to extrovertedness and introvertedness. I can be extroverted. In fact, I love talking with people. But once the clock hits about an hour in, I just get so tired. But also, if the conversation is over something I really, really like, I tend to be energized by it. That's what I mean by like I'm somewhere in the middle of introverted, extroverted. Um, I used to have a really bad fear of needles, so I was always really thankful for the mindful bombs. Yes. So there's actually a really good trick to doing phlebotomy correctly. So people are typically scared of the needle, but if you're good at it and you go at it in like a 30-degree angle, I'll see if I can do it. Yeah, about right here is 30 degrees. You go in at 30 degrees, and people are scared of the needle, so you distract them. Typically what I do is I take my thumb and I press it into their arm. Not so much that it'll hurt them, but enough so that it applies pressure so that they can't feel the needle, they just feel my thumb. And that really, really works for people. Half the people tell me they never feel it. And that's because your brain can really only focus on one pain at a time. So as you're putting the needle in, you distract them with conversation and you press your thumb into them and they never feel it. So that works really, really well. The only thing that is hard is doing it. Yes, I do actually. I work at a clinic in my local town, and I do that. People are like, "Oh, but like, can't you like make a living off of art?" And it's like, yes, technically I can, but a job in medicine is very stable, and I can make extra money through art. So I can just live through my degree, but also have the art on the side, which is how I prefer things, because keeping art as a hobby is super important to me, because I tried doing it full time and it started to make me hate what I was doing. I felt like I wasn't enjoying it as much. Yeah. So, yeah, I still enjoy doing phlebotomy. I'm more of like, because it's a small clinic I work at, I'm more of a mix of a phlebotomist, medical assistant slash referral coordinator. So I do like three things. I room patients, I get them ready for the nurse practitioner, and then after I'm done, I get all their vitals and put it in, and that's kind of my job. And then if they need blood taken, I take blood, and that allows me to kind of do a little bit of everything. And then when I'm not doing that, I'm answering phones or I'm coordinating with insurance companies, which, by the way, there is not a single doctor who loves insurance companies. The only people in this world who love insurance companies are the people selling you insurance, the insurance companies themselves, and on the medical side, it's the administration. Administration loves insurance companies because they can figure out how to overcharge people. And oh, also, whenever you find out when your doctor is running unnecessary tests, believe it or not, that is not them trying to upcharge you. Yes, people lovingly refer to me as vampire as well. But doctors are not upcharging you because they want to make the hospital money or make themselves money. Doctors don't actually get a cut of any of the tests they run on you. They just get kind of a flat rate based on it's complicated. But the reason they do it is it's to cover all bases. It protects them legally from you coming back a week later and saying you didn't do everything you could and now things have gotten worse. The reason they run tests on you that are unnecessary is so that all the bases are covered legally. They don't want to, they don't need to, but if they don't, then there consequences. You know what I mean? You would much rather over test somebody than under test them. I don't know. Does that make sense? Let's see here. I'm going to get back to working on this. So we have the idea here. I'm going to also imply that elbow I was talking about earlier. So we're going to kind of do that. Just kind of imply it. I'm going to do the liquefy to kind of make the forearm a bit longer. It's not quite working correctly. Yeah, we're just gonna kind of adjust that. There we go. That's more anatomically correct. But yeah, sometimes you'll see me on my videos on YouTube. I am just completely like, I don't change out of my scrubs for a while because it's like 4 clothes to clean. I already got to wash my scrubs every single day pretty much. So yeah. Oh goodness. So we have the basic pose idea here, and what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna kind of go in and we're going to figure out what clothes we want. I found a particular outfit I saw on Pinterest. Um, by the way, can I just lament for a bit about how Pixiv and Pinterest are just overwhelmed with AI to the point where finding a good reference is getting harder and harder. Um, like there was a brief period of time where I gave up. I think it's a healthy way to look at art. Keep it as a hobby. I'd totally be shocked if I found out you draw such pro level. Oh, thank you. Uh, yeah, but it's one of those things. Oddly enough, some people who were my patients used to work at a restaurant I used to frequent. I actually, on top of being an artist, I do music and I do shows. Every now and then I perform a show. About 2 hours from where I live is a larger city, and that city has a lot of venues, and I sometimes play shows there, which is a lot of fun. But some of those people who were ended up being my patients actually went to some of my shows, which was like super nerve-wracking for me because it's easier to perform in front of a crowd you don't know versus a crowd you do. Um, Especially if like the venue is small and you can see individual faces. That's rough. Typically my favorite places to perform currently are basically any convention center. That is by far my absolute favorite. Just because the people want to be there. Whenever you play like at a bar or a show like that, people are kind of just tolerating you. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm sorry you have to tolerate me. I'm just trying to have fun. But yeah, back to the topic of like the Pinterest stuff. It's getting bad. To the point where it's like 98% AI at this point, and sometimes AI will actually come up with a really cool, like, I don't know, like an outfit, but like you look at the outfit and you're like, all right, that doesn't make sense, but like I bet I could make it make sense. So like you want to do a rendition. Somebody told me one time that like, well, now you like, I've heard dumb things where people are like, well, if AI made the outfit, then you can't draw the outfit because the outfit is made by AI. But I don't know if I fully agree with that. Now, if you're copying the AI one to one, that's a bad idea. Don't do that. It's going to teach you terrible habits. But if it's things like outfits or like clothing, you can take inspiration from it because also there are better. I do agree there are better places to get ideas for clothing. You can look at like fashion trends. You can look at cultural clothing. There's a lot of things you can do. So I'm not saying completely ignore everything AI because I do somewhat agree that there is like occasional things you can be inspired by. You just can't copy it or fully commit to it because it just ends poorly. Um so that's my speech. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Um but yeah, we're going to start drawing the clothes, and I know I drew this beautiful body, but like 90% of this body is going to be covered with clothes, so don't get attached to this body. This body is going to be disappearing under a mountain of clothes. So, say bye-bye, body. Let's see here. We are going to start drawing the clothes now. All right, here we go. So I'm going for kind of a comfy clothing outfit, a bit more on the scene. Y'all remember, any of y'all old enough to remember the early 2000s and like the scene kid type deal? Like the pop punk, like the My Chemical Romance type clothes. That's kind of what I'm going for here. Kind of that punk meets a little bit of a cute aesthetic. So that's what we're going for. We're going to go ahead and go above all this, and we're just going to start drawing the clothes in. Let's see here. I just noticed that it would kind of go up like this. Now, typically, I don't mind, and I usually draw a lot of cleavage. So the way we're gonna like get around that with the character being baggy is we're actually gonna rip up the outfit ever so slightly, just a small amount of skin. And one thing you'll learn as an artist as you get through it is like you can show everything, but sometimes you gotta leave something to the imagination. People are more intrigued by what they don't see versus what they do see. So that's my big recommendation to everyone is like, yes, you could absolutely just draw everything. But sometimes the best thing you can do is make people imagine what is there. There we go. So we have kind of the idea, kind of tracing it all in. I don't know why I said tracing. Tracing is the wrong word. Let's not ever imply tracing. I used to have an art teacher in middle school who was like really like, he was kind of my hero growing up because like, even though I wasn't a very good artist at the time, he was so encouraging to everyone. If you genuinely showed love for what art was, and he was just a goofy guy. He didn't believe that he should be testing kids on art. Like, he would make his own custom tests, and the test would be silly. It would be like 90% of the questions would be like, what's Mr. Baker's favorite food? And he'll like tell you in the beginning of the class. But if you didn't know the answer, it was like multiple choice, but it would be like, and it would be stuff like, the charred remains of my enemies, something stupid like McDonald's, and then there'd just be one that says Mr. Baker's favorite food, and if you circled that, you got the answer right. He was such a fun guy, and it was genuinely because of him that I got into art. And it's why I'm really big into teaching what I know now, because I had a wonderful experience with a great teacher, and that made the difference. So like, the fact that like some people feel like guarding what they know, like it's a big secret, just doesn't feel right to me. Oh, hold on a second. Gotta double check Streamlabs. Hey, Kfabun. Oh, you just followed. Nice. Thank you. Oh, wait. No, what was that? I missed a notification. What did you do? Ah! I don't see it in my UI. My UI is broken. Oh. Whenever you get the message, let me know what you did so I can properly thank you. I completely missed it. I'm sorry. Alright. Anyway, yes. His name was Mr. Baker. He was literally the greatest source of what Kebby. Oh, it was a follow. Okay, thank you so much for following. I appreciate you. But 100%, if I didn't have somebody who worked that hard to like make art fun, which is what art should be, right? Art should always be something you do for fun. That's why I said I didn't want art to be a job. I thought I wanted art to be a job until I tried to make it a job, and then I was like, oh, that's not fun at all. But yeah. Just try to have fun, figure it out. Okay, so I'm going to allow you guys to guess real quick. What mistake did I make when drawing the sleeve here? Because I made a pretty big mistake just now. To make silly ideas real, find objects I scan, make some work tasks, but I commission humors. Here's the thing. I'm not even mad if you commission art just because you think, like, sorry, not commit, if you use art just because you think it's cool. I think some artists can get, like, really mean to the average person when it comes to AI, but I've always said that's the wrong approach. Like, if you're gonna demonize everybody for just doing something simple, like, I don't know, like, you're gonna make every artist the bad guy if you just continue to, like, attack people for just trying AI. If they weren't gonna pay for art in the first place, why even get mad at them? Just, it's not a good idea, is the best way I can put it. Like, don't don't put yourself in a situation where people get mad at you. Hey Frey, what'd you get for food? Let's see here. Okay. Again, I'm not super thrilled with that, so I'm gonna flip the canvas real quick and see. Yep, that's the issue. I think it's ugly to see AI used in marketing, branding, etc., but people are very vitriolic. Yes, people are way too vitriolic about it, and it's to the point where like it doesn't help anything. You know what I mean? It doesn't fix, it doesn't make AI disappear to attack people who are just trying to have fun. So the sleeve isn't necessarily bigger than it should be because we're making baggy clothing. The issue was the rotation around the arm. And you are also correct that the shoulder is a bit weird. Notice how it protrudes like crazy? But whenever I kind of made it, and then we can adjust using the liquify tool yet again. We can kind of just shorten it, fix it, point the shoulder a bit, kind of push it back. And now what we're doing is we're kind of fixing everything. Yeah. How about that? Yeah, so I have chosen in my life to, like, there was a time I was mad at people for just using AI. I have since kind of mellowed out, and I feel that's a good thing. I personally won't use AI just because it's just not a good idea in terms of my profession, what I do. Plus, also, it ruins your integrity as an artist, and it's really bad when that happens because that's something you just can't get back. The amount of artists that I used to like, that when AI started becoming more mainstream, they started incorporating it into their process. I used to be in a server with other artists who were part of a university, a research university, and I was invited because I made friends with somebody there, but truthfully I wasn't supposed to be there. It was kind of private to the campus, but they were artists who were very pro AI because they were like, well, it's just a tool. But I don't see AI as a tool because nobody is using it like a tool. They're using it like a replacement, you know? Like, I want to see somebody explain to me how AI can be used as a tool, because every time somebody does, what ends up happening is they show it to me and then it's like, okay, but like you didn't actually use it like a tool, you just used it to like skip 90% of being an artist. So, still not fully convinced of that sleeve. Using a horse and a car, they're not the tools, it's just a replacement. Yes. Cause the best way I can put it is like, now granted, like I do think there are use cases for AI. Unlike NFTs, like they actually have like beneficial uses in things like medical research. Like they take something that would take a human being 100 years to do by themselves and just does it so freaking fast. And like it's hard to argue that that isn't a good use case, because what are we just going to like, because it's like eliminating the like busy work of that, you know what I mean? So I can see the medical use for AI. I can see AI enhancing like maybe like your planner or like helping you figure things out, but like the use cases for like generative AI are just less use cases and more of situations like replace all creative people. Like the only people it benefits are the large companies. So it's kind of one of those situations where it's like, it's rough, because if it was actually used in a way that would help an artist, I think it would be good. I just haven't seen it be used that way. It's always used specifically to save money and to get rid of jobs, right? It's the same thing with coding. If you've ever been with a coder who has worked with AI, they always say it's like working with a 2-year-old who never remembers anything. Like, you'll tell it what it should do, but you spend all your time fixing its mistakes, and then it never learns from their mistakes. So, again, on the topic of, like, that 2000 scene kid, you'll notice that I'm using, like, that baggy glove thing that was super popular in the 2000s. From, like, the goth or, like, scene kid type deal. So we're just kind of going here. There we go. Yeah, there we are. But yeah, all that rambling just to say that I personally don't condemn the average people from using generative AI, because that doesn't actually solve the problem, and let people have fun. Not everybody can afford an artist. I understand that. And I also understand, like, a lot of artists are hyper competitive, and I'm in a very privileged position where I have a large following, so I can say that. So I'm not going to sit here and say, like, everyone is as fortunate as I am with, like, how much I've, like, built a following. It took a long time to build my following, but at the same time, like, in a way, I'm out of touch because of that. I'm so used to having a constant stream of commissions, and if I need money, I can get money. Not everybody has that, and I have to remind myself that constantly. Yes, we do, Frey. We love the goth scene phase, because that's my childhood right there, like early 2000s. Like, I remember a little bit of the 90s, like, but, like, not a crazy amount. I'm not gonna say I'm a 90s kid. Like, I've never understood people that are like, I was born in 1996, I'm a 90s kid. Like, no, you were a 90s toddler. Like, I'm not a 90s kid. I was born in 1995. I remember probably exactly 2 years committed to memory of the 90s. Possibly a little bit more, but, like, no, not a 90s kid. I'm a kid raised in the early 2000s. Kind of like how people, yeah, 90s baby as a 96, like, oh, that makes me think, because I believe that means that you're like 1 year older than my brother. My brother is 97 and I'm 95. I just realized I drew that wonderful little divot in the arm, and I will never see it again. Well, shucks. Shucks and darn. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of apply it there. By the way, Ruffles, it doesn't matter how many years I've started drawing, I still suck at drawing them. The big Sag, yes. The saggiest. Yeah, granted, when talking about my my life as an artist online, I'm not gonna lie, people have, like, said, like, well, what did it take to, like, get to your size on Twitter? And I've always sat there and I've just looked at them like, I have no freaking clue. I just started drawing Hololive and Arknights, and then, like, people started paying attention. But I also, like, I don't know, like, for a while my artwork really resonated with people because I was drawing kind of what I liked, and what I liked just so happened to be what everyone else liked. Good grief, what am I gonna do here? So we're getting to the point where, like, the body and the clothes are almost done. We might actually get to the rendering today. So I keep looking at my phone instead of looking at you guys at the camera. Hello! But, yeah, essentially, we might actually get to the rendering, at least the base colors like I was planning, because I'm actually enjoying myself right now. I'm always terrified of streaming right up to the point where I start streaming, and then it's fun. I enjoy this. Let's see here. We have. Also, can you tell I have like. Well, I'm not gonna say I have. I got diagnosed with ADHD, but I never like. But I don't think I fully like got the diagnosis. I think they were. True. Yes, that does actually work. But it's one of those things that I I had to explain to a friend in the past who didn't understand like the big problem on Twitter right now is how they're age restricting things. But I've noticed NSFW artists aren't willing or trying to adapt. And I understand that what they have been doing has been working for a very long time. But survivability online comes with your ability to adapt. One thing that worked for the past 2 years, sometimes within a month, will just stop working. Um, and I have started over many times online. I've actually managed to unbury accounts and get out of algorithm hell almost 6 times in my career. And that's mainly due to the fact that I just pivot. Now, I don't change my style, I don't change what I love, I just change my approach. Yes, the writing safe for work when it's not safe for work. I was very annoyed with people doing that because essentially what they've done is they have taken away the one thing that separated them from people who weren't doing NSFW, and they were ruining it for the normal person. I genuinely was annoyed at that, even though I kind of draw NSFW. I felt bad for people who were being falsely flagged by the content ID system because artists were doing that. It was genuinely frustrating for me because it was a very selfish mindset to have, right? Their inability or willingness to adapt put everyone else in jeopardy because they couldn't pivot. But I can be as angry as I want. My job is still to continue to pivot. If people outside of my control break my circumstances, I have to be able to dig myself out of it. Every situation that's out of my control isn't actually fully out of my control until people remove my ability to act on my own impulses. I am in full control of what I do, so the consequences and the results are mine. And that mindset has made it to where I can just fight because I'm a very stubborn person. I'm incredibly stubborn, but in a good way. I'm stubborn in a way that has helped me succeed. And I feel you need to have that bite to you. You know what I mean? That ability to not give up. And even as everything falls apart, you can complain. It's okay to complain. Like, life gets hard and things that worked before don't work. But after you're done complaining, you need to solve the problem. And that's not easy. It's a lot of work. And on top of having like a full-time job and like doing the internet stuff, you just have to survive. It is funny. I almost, do you think, quick question, do you think one day when the Mr. Beast stuff on YouTube stops working, do you think Mr. Jimmy Beast himself has the ability to adapt? Do you think he actually like understands that? Because personally, I think he does. Mr. Jimmy Beast himself, yes. I personally think his ability to figure out the YouTube algorithm is because he understands. Like, I may not like some of the stuff he does, but like, I genuinely think he's like very smart. He kind of grew. It was the same thing with MatPat, right? From Game Theory back in the day. MatPat and Mr. Beast had a brain that could understand what works in social media. And I think that's why even whenever they stop, they will always be able to come back because they have the ability to adapt to whatever's happening. That's just my personal opinion. Right. I would agree with you on that. Hey, that he's a big enigma. Um, his personality is whatever the algorithm wants him to be. And where that makes him succeed, it's also kind of weird, right? Um, Personally, I'm just impressed by the guy. Even if I don't agree with some of the stuff he does. Like even in the past before the whole like controversy with his stuff. Oh yeah, it's annoying for me too. It's kind of just certain people have a brain for it. I have the ability to not give up, but when it comes to having a brain to actually figure out what works, I think I could do it. The problem is like I just don't have the like drive to do it. You know what I mean? Whenever I go on my YouTube, and if you've seen my YouTube videos, they're basically speed paints and like occasionally talking about current events. But like when it comes down to it, I am not actually willing to like make what's gonna succeed because it's not what I want. Um, and if that means I don't succeed on YouTube, that means I don't succeed on YouTube. It's just as simple as that. But like I'd rather have fun than be miserable. And it's like, oh, I got money, but I hate my life. Yeah, that couldn't be me. And if it one day is me, well, that's unfortunate. um, so earlier I talked about how we're going to show a little bit of skin on the character, and that's how we're going to kind of add a little bit of like sex appeal to it. But I'm not actually going to do it with any line art. Yes, I agree. Not wanting minors to like, but you almost can't control that. Like the government like is trying to like control that, but like you just can't. Kids are smarter than we give them credit for. One of them's gonna figure out how to get past it, and then they're gonna tell all their friends, and their friends are gonna work. I remember at school, like back in the 2000s, like we used to like have constant wars with the admins of our schools to bypass security, and you know, the worst thing a school could have is a freaking coding class because kids are like, oh yeah, I'll take the coding class so I can watch YouTube during my downtime. Also, I don't mean to be a boomer, but like, YouTube was better whenever I was a kid. Like, stuff wasn't made in a brain rot fashion. It wasn't like constantly. I don't know, it felt like life was fun. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's really cool. So like I used to like scoff at Roblox, you know, like they're like, oh, Roblox, that's for kids. But like now, like part of me is like sitting there going like, you know, looking at younger me, like when I was like 26, like making fun of Roblox, and now I'm sitting there saying like, even though I don't play it, like we have to at least acknowledge the fact that these kids are like being creative in what little way they can. And some of them are making money at it, which is awesome. Yeah. Um, the more NSFW you get, the more life just kicks you in the teeth. Um, but that's kind of the way it's gonna be and probably always gonna be. We live in it, we kind of had our run, right? Like in the 2000s, we were very body positive, but that's slowly being replaced, right? With more Puritan ideals. But that's kind of the way it goes. That's always been like society goes through cycles, right? Yes, I totally agree with that. Like let the kids spaces be for the kids. Heaven forbid the children have a place to be kids themselves. Like whenever we were kids in the 2000s, like we had our own like spaces for children. Now there were creepy adults in those spaces too, don't get me wrong. But like at least in those situations, I don't know, it felt like there was actually like admins back then, like that would do their job. Heaven forbid we do our job, Roblox. Yeah, it's we live in a world that will probably always be to some degree disgusting. Uh, it's just the sad part of life. So, let's see here. Corporations could care less about anything except money nowadays. Well, I wouldn't say nowadays. I would say always. Money is money, and it's the way the world works. Um, so we just live in a situation where well, it's interesting, right? Like I've looked into like documentaries of like what America used to be like in the 1940s and 30s, and like that was when capitalism was working, because believe it or not, capitalism actually works really really well when it's being balanced out by social programs. Like you can't just have one system and expect things to work. Um I'm gonna shift topics. Let's not do politics. Cuz yeah. But um no, it's just money money money. So we're gonna kind of do some like boots on her as well. Like think like I I bemoan to use the term throat stompers, baby, throat stompers. So you'll notice with the skirt here, we are definitely going into absolute territory. Territory! And that was your dad joke for the stream. Please clap. Oh yes, that's coming later. This particular one is just I'm not actually doing the Cheese Museum artwork on stream. Um just because I don't know whether or not it's gonna work yet. And I'd rather do oh, we're doing Bay. But Frey, you know me and like the rat. Me and the rat. I think I'd go into a coma if I made Yay! Okay, so that's the idea. We definitely deviated from what the pose was, but you know, sometimes you do that because you want to actually do what you want to do. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start adding facial features, and we are going to merge a bunch of these layers together. That way we have the solid idea. Real quick before I move on, we're going to go ahead and draw the tail. And we want to follow in a certain pattern, because what we're going to do is we are going to kind of imply motion in the composition. Yeah, I feel like my speed actually lends itself really well to streaming. I spoiled it on Twitter, but I am legitimately like making a game out of my art to basically have an excuse to collab with streamers, specifically VTubers. I wanted to find a way to bridge the gap between artist and VTuber in terms of collaboration. And I think I found a fun way to do it, but I'm gonna save it for the first stream where I do it in, and then after I do that, I'm not so selfish that I'm gonna claim that nobody can have this idea if it works, because if it works, that means everybody's gonna do it. Just don't forget me as the first one to do it. But yeah, no, that's the way the internet is. Like, if you have a good idea, H. Brahma guy said it best. If you have a good idea, it won't be your idea for long. It's very true. It's just the way it is. And some people get upset about it, but like, don't. It's just part of the fun of being online is watching people take a concept, innovate it, and turn it into something awesome. I'm gonna actually adjust the hands a little bit, even though I want to show more of the hands. Right now we have a situation where the hands aren't going down far enough anatomically. So we need to correct that. Just using the selection pen to kind of grab what I need. I'm actually gonna cut it and then paste it so I have more control over it. We're gonna move it down to a more correct position. Then we're gonna erase where it happens on the leg. We're gonna close the gap. And we are going to kind of add a bit more here to kind of balance it out. Okay. I'm gonna merge it with the thing below. There we go. That looks better. That's kind of true. I am pretty fast. So what we're going to do now is we have the head right here, and I'm just going to put a layer above it. We're going to draw the guide for the face. Now, when it comes to drawing the guides for the head, people always wonder why I don't draw guides for the body, but I only draw guides for the head. And that's mainly down to the fact that, like, I just kind of understand the body. But when it comes to placing things on the head, to make the face look good, you have to be very, very precise. More precise than the body. You can actually get away with a lot incorrect with the body, but when it comes to the face, to make it look professional, you just have to line everything up perfectly. So I'm gonna try to explain what I do, but until then, so you might also wonder why I draw the curvature of the head on the side right here. That is the flat part of the head. The flat part of the head is right where the eyes begin, and it's typically where the ears start to taper off on the side of the chin or the cheek, kind of the jawline. That's the word I'm looking for. So now that we have the guide, we're gonna lower the opacity so it's just barely touching. I'm gonna hide the 3D model now because we don't need it anymore. We basically have everything we need now. Oh, I showed it at the beginning of the stream, but you showed up a bit later, so I'll explain. So I have a 3D a body type that I kind of custom made and then saved. And then that's typically what I use. It's I call it, I didn't even name it. It's new 3D drawing figure 0. Um, and then Clip Studio has like a bunch of cool like pose ideas. So under downloads, a lot of them are from Japanese artists. I actually know a little bit of Japanese, so like I can actually read some of this, but we'll then go to pose, and these are all the poses that I like. And they're kind of just lay the groundwork, right? Um, I don't use like a bunch of these, but like some of them have like a really strong start, and then I kind of just adjust as I go later. Um, and I change things that I like or dislike. Yeah, you probably heard my elbow pop there. I've been hunched over for a bit now. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a folder on top here. We're going to name it eyes. I like to have the eyes on a separate folder. That way I have full control over moving them. Because you have to adjust a lot. By the way, time to drink. All right. Ah, yummy. Totally water. Definitely water. For real, has to be, it couldn't be soda. No, it's water. Oh, it's such real water. Um, yeah, oh, you know me. Water, water, water. I'm always drinking things that are good for me because I'm not bad to my body. I am good to my body all the time. Don't question it. I'm good. Anyway, let's get to drawing the eyes now. It's Saturday every day when you have no recollection of time and awareness. Wake up on a Monday. It's Saturday. Don't know where that came. Anyway, so if you notice I zoom in, it's a bit sketchier, but that's okay because like I've been keeping things sketchy lately. Fun for me. Just a bit. I keep accidentally bumping into my crane. Yeah, my Insta was a lot of my old stuff, which was a lot more thank you. Um I enjoy, like, the worst part is, the sad part is I can't draw men very well. I don't do it enough, so I'm actually super out of practice. Like I got really good at drawing girls. So typically when I start with the eyes, I like to start with the eye on the right, just because it's like easier for me personally. We're gonna lower that even more. So let's go ahead and draw the eyes in. Yeah, next stream I'm gonna add the keybind to show what I'm actually clicking on the whole time, so you can like learn the shortcuts with me. Be warned, like my speed in drawing is like equivalent to my speed of hitting keyframes. Sorry, like, why am I blanking on it? Shortcuts. I am absolutely crazy with shortcuts. Anytime I learn a new program, I just spend an entire month practicing shortcuts and then apply them to my work. Ooh, yay, we have like dubstep stuff. Oh, I missed that. I don't like rhythm as much as I like dubstep. And the worst part is, I'm a poser. I liked the version of dubstep that like isn't the quote-unquote real dubstep. Like what people unaffectionately refer to as bro step. Drawing men, me too. It's pretty frustrating on the very rare chance I want to draw men. Yeah. No, I'm not terrible. Like, I can still, like, make a passable dude. It's just, like, the version of the men I want to draw versus the men I end up drawing aren't the same. Like, I really like drawing, like, do you remember those, 90s, like, shoujo, like, mangas where, like, the men were, like, tall and, like, very muscular? But, like, kind of let thin kind of muscle? but it was like very, very like good. And that was kind of what I always wanted to draw. The issue was every time I draw a dude, he looks more effeminate than masculine. And some people like that, but I personally like kind of the like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm like bi, but I have a preference towards like big muscular men. But like only visually. Like it's more fun to hug somebody with like actual like um chunk on them. Like hugs are better when people are larger. Let's see. There we go. Jeez Louise, I was having so much trouble with that. Okay, so we're gonna kind of just apply the iris here. Kind of adjust, kind of skew it a bit more. We're again using the liquify tool a generous amount of times. Yeah. Oh no, I accidentally hit the wrong button. There we go. All right, that fixed it. Woo. Scary. All right. So we're not going to put the wrinkle of the eyelid on the same layer as the eye because I actually want the eye to be kind of affected by things. Let's see here. Just so if we zoom out, we have kind of a solid eye there. We're gonna adjust the orientation of it and the size a bit because I'm not fully convinced of placement. We're also gonna lower it a bit on the face, and I may adjust later. But right now, we kind of just want. Now, when it comes to anime, I actually don't draw the world's largest eyes compared to other artists in the scene. I like my stuff to be like somewhat grounded in anatomy, meaning the eye itself is exactly an eye length apart from the other. It starts at the side of the head, and I just kind of want things to look correct. And if I don't do it right the first time, I go in and I check and I kind of fix it. And that's why I put all the eyes on a separate layer, because it makes it easier to correct. There we go. So I'm flipping the canvas because this is kind of the way that's easiest for me. Let's see here. Again, I need to fix the orientation ever so slightly. I am really, really hoping the next season of Frieren comes out like quickly, but like only if it like comes out quickly and good. Like obviously, I would rather it be a good release rather than a quick release. But like, I love it so much. It is like my comfort anime. I like animes that are very like cozy. Like I'm not a shonen type of anime enjoyer. I like anything with like deeper meaning or like something beautiful about the world, you know. I like, but it's weird because I do like some shonen, but like my taste in shonen is like really weird. Like I love shit like Air Gear. Does anybody in chat know about Air Gear? Oh, I know. Don't remind me. Don't remind me of the hiatus. But yeah, I like weird stuff like Air Gear. Also, when it comes to like one of my favorite inspirations when it comes to art, the just Trigun, man. The original manga for Trigun is insane. The inking in it is next level. It's so good. Yes, I love Air Gear. This is how I know me and Frey are close in age, despite them saying it. Um, it's just like I'll bring up a very like niche older anime, and they'll be like, "Yes, yes." I know. It's like the Air Gear ends on probably one of the worst like cliffhangers. It just stopped. Also, like other sports anime also like had that problem for a while. Like another example is like Ice Shield 21. Yes. Oh, I would love that. Thank you. Yes, I really enjoy making eyes. But I've lately been drawing very like intense eyes, and I kind of like that. Let's see here. We have the body type here, so like let's figure out what the facial expression is gonna be. I'm gonna make the eyes a little bit closer to each other. They're a little bit far apart right now. We got the Gura effect going on. Yes, like, well, it's like it. iShield 21 also had one of my favorite anime opening songs, like from Back On. Yeah. 絵の具ののよ Society の寝るトゥトゥルトゥトゥトゥトゥ do 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 do. Ah, so good. But they also did Air Gear. Yeah, like it's people jokingly referred to them as like Japanese Linkin Park in their early stuff. I miss like why is Japan the only like country still doing like that pop punk thing right? I miss it. I like it's why all my music is pop punk. I miss that. Like it was such a it was just a crazy vibe, man. Like it was just a rebel, man. It's so good. Yeah, I need them to fix CO and yes. Yes. Okay. So I noticed something. The chin isn't fully correct, so we're gonna kind of use the liquify to kind of fix it a bit. We're going to adjust. All right. So now we are going to what facial expression? Uh, well, I definitely like anything sassy with Bay. Bay kind of has a really good like feeling for kind of like just being sassy. So let's kind of like make the facial expression a bit sassy. Yeah, yeah. I like I miss like the days of Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Like that just that rebelliousness. Oh, like it just it doesn't feel as like screw the man, you know, like Punk just had a vibe to it. So here's the trick to getting a sassier face. You basically need to like really stretch the mouth and like make it go into a position that like is kind of pushing the line a bit. That is actually how you get like a very sassy look. We're also going to add a bit of a snaggletooth there. There we go. And now on the eye layer, we're going to create an extra layer inside the folder, and we're going to um, draw the eyebrows. Right? I remember absolutely losing my mind when Tony Hawk Underground had a story mode where you could like build your own pro skater. No spoilers if you haven't like played the story mode, but it is like it's not the best, but like it's fun to a degree. It's where it's enjoyable. Like also, there was a really cool guy who used to ride the bus with me when I was a kid. He was in high school, but I was in middle school, and he would always like have a CD player on. And he one day was like I was like listening to it and it had like that really like intense distorted guitar, and my parents wouldn't let me listen to any of that, and he just gave me a look one day. He's like, you want to listen? And I was like, yeah. And he like just handed it to me. He's like, what do you think? And I go, this is the coolest thing ever. And he's like, I'm gonna burn this kid a CD of nothing but Slipknot, Avenged Sevenfold, like all these band, like he basically burned me a freaking mixtape of like all the greatest like pop punk and metal things. And he like brought it to me the next day. He's like, you now have everything you need to know to like understand this, and it changed my life. Dude, my parents were so like were like sheltered me so much because they would not let me listen to the radio because I would hear something inappropriate. But in comes a random guy on the bus who's like, I got you. Yeah, oh, I forgot. Rise Against was also something he burned for me. He also like took the entire soundtrack of Sonic Adventure 2 and he was like, "Yeah, you don't have to listen to it on your GameCube anymore, and I can take it on the go." And I'm like, "Yes, my autistic brain is satiated. I have Sonic on the go." There we go. So this is gonna upset people who don't notice, but Bay does have 4 ears. She has human ears and rat ears, and you get to see all of them. Lucky you. Um, that drives my best friend crazy. The anthropomorphic like furry characters with like double sets of ears. But that's like almost exclusively an anime thing, I've noticed. Is like they just double the ears. And the best part is they've got twice the ears, but their ass is not listening. All right. So the biggest criticism I get and why people tend to say that my work is AI is one, the lighting, and two, I get judged for my ears so much, and it's like I want to get better, but like part of me also is really spiteful. And it's like, yeah, you can't get me to change how I do it, but like I might need to, just because it's causing me no end of grief. Okay. So now we have the basic idea. Now we're going to draw the hair. We're going to flip the character back over again. And we are going to actually take the whole thing. And we're going to stretch the face out a bit. Kind of. Actually, now that you mention it, I'm going to just... I just realized, I did place them too low here. You're correct. Because she's looking down, so her ears should appear like they're going up and not down. Yeah, yeah. I did the boo boo. I did the bad. I did the bad art. I did the bad. How dare you point out my flaws? Don't you know I'm perfect? I'm me. Everyone knows how great I am. And if they don't, I'm gonna tell them. Would you like to know about how great I am? I think I'm great. Totally not insecure. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm great. The children who were wrong. Oh, goodness. Yes, thank you. At least now you know. Yeah. I'm gonna go full pirate software on you, and I'm gonna ban you for not talking about how great I am. Uh, Lost was canceled today after telling everyone how great he was and doubling down for the past 7 hours. It was truly embarrassing, and everyone laughed. He's still gonna make a living as a locale, though. That's gonna be awesome. Lost went full Dark Side Phil for the next 10 years. Okay, so now we're gonna draw Bay's hair. And the best part about Bay's hair is it's hard. It's hard. I've been doing it this long and it's never gotten any easier. It's still hard. I still suck at it. I'm trying my best, but I'm going to attempt to draw Bay's hair, and you're allowed to point and laugh, but just know that I will cry. I will cry. Let's do this. Yeah, I know, right? Oh no, I have to draw the ears, like, first. If I draw the hair first before the ears, then I won't know where to place the ears anymore. You, you stupid jerk. Okay, I am going to look up Hololive's website real fast to make sure I do this every time. I've drawn Bay this many times, but like I'm always terrified I'm gonna accidentally do her hair wrong. So I have to like have it in front of me, just almost like a security blanket. So yeah, I've got a picture of Hako's Basil right in front of me right now, and woo! Let's hope I don't screw this up. Alright, let's do this. Oh god, I just realized I have to flip the image. Nope, nope, not gonna do that. I'm drawing it the easy way, and I am literally flipping the canvas. You can't tell me not to. The canvas is being flipped. It's too late. You can't stop it. I think my neighbors are still partying. Man, they know how to party. Okay. Oh, I am so... I somehow managed to get used to the giant crane arm in front of my body. And I don't know how I feel about that. Okay, let's see here. Let's go ahead and do some Bay. So I do take small liberties with the hair. Just to kind of add some extra effects to it, you know what I mean? Also, I'm very happy today. My brother, I helped him prepare the vegetables for dinner today, but he made stir fry, and it was awesome. It's chicken. It had like teriyaki, like sweet and sour sauce, and we had broccoli, onions, onion powder, some. Let's see here. Like some bell pepper in it as well. It was great. I was very happy. My brother also makes like this like bacon grilled cheese on a pretzel bun that he'll make occasionally, and it's like literally my favorite thing that he ever makes. Um, but I think it like takes a lot of work, and it's one of those things that like even though I like it, like I don't know if he like considers it worth the amount of work, because it's one of those things that like he'll make once in a blue moon, just because I guess it's a lot to do, which is a downer for me. But like I should probably like, instead of like expecting him to like occasionally make it, I should just learn how to make it so that he's not always making that meal. Let's see here. just here. So I actually keep the lines for the eyes on specifically the hair, because I go in later and I kind of adjust it to where it kind of has a translucent effect. And I'll show you how to do that once we get to it. Once I start adding the colors in. Go. I think I need to eat a little bit more. I'm not sure I had enough at dinner because my stomach is like rumbling. It's like, what have you done? You have not done nearly enough. You have not paid your penance. You stupid man. You know not what you eat, but I know all. Yes, my stomach talks like a fantasy villain. It's very entertaining. There we go. I can't even recall how long it took me to get good at drawing hair. Actually, fun fact, if you look at my artwork from just a year ago, I have made crazy improvement in a year. It feels like it's not crazy in terms of like colossal amounts of improvement. It's more that like my attention to detail and it feels like when you hit a certain point as an artist, like you get good at the little things, right? And that like, and for some reason those little things make a bigger difference than everything else. So it's made me kind of realize that like sometimes not being able to see a big difference doesn't mean there wasn't a lot learned. Isn't it? It's such a devious grin. Yeah. Again, I'm looking at it as it's flipped, and that chin is still just not placed properly. Let's adjust. I'll move it in ever so slightly. There we go. So, I'm gonna undo all that so you can see the difference. Subtle, but it's more correct now. Lately a lot of larger artists have started following me, which is, it feels really, really good because it feels like you're being recognized by people that you looked up to. And it's just a feeling that I don't know if I can put into words. And then to have those same artists say that they've been your fan for a long time, it just feels surreal. I don't know, it's like I have been stuck in terms of followers on Twitter for a good 6 months now, not really moving much at all. But despite not growing as fast as I used to, the difference of who is paying attention definitely feels like, even if it isn't major leaps in terms of following, it feels like I'm making connections I never had before. And I think that matters just as much to me and feels like a success. My goal to this day, Like the what I would consider like fully succeeding would be, it would be nice to like, it's always been my goal to have at least one member of Hololive follow me. I do understand that if they were ever tempted, why they didn't, because my Twitter, I can be very shit posty and occasionally like have hot takes. So I've been trying to like get better about like not responding to things like that. But for the most part, I don't even judge it. Like, cause they probably have somebody like have to okay um whether or not they follow someone, you know what I mean? That's at least my assumption. I don't actually know if that's how it works, but I would imagine that would be how it works because it's an image thing with Hololive. Yeah, seems to care less about my actual interest and more about vague posts and engagement. Yeah, it's definitely switched. The vibe of Twitter, like the vibe of Twitter, if I'm being perfectly honest, was never really good, but it's significantly worse now. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Yes. So like part of me like wonders whether or not I should just like not necessarily abandon the idea of a Hololive member following me, but just like temper my expectations. How about that? Like I could be upset about it all I want, but like in reality, I should just be happy that every now and then they like one of my posts or they use it as a thumbnail. That's still good, right? Yeah, Ollie is built different. Also Kiara, um, is kind of in the same regard, right? Like she's much more okay and seems to do better with like not stressing over things being inappropriate as long as she finds it funny or sexy. Like she's very open about that type of thing. I don't think that's crazy at all. It is seen as kind of a rite of passage as an artist that if they use your thumbnail, because it's they are allowed to do that because it's fan art, right? Like technically, fan art is copyright infringement, um, but they understand that it's super important to not stifle or attack fans. But it feels like a big deal as an artist to have one of them do that. It feels good, because you're a fan and you want to see them use your stuff. The only downside I will say is because of how Twitter has changed. You don't get the same boost that you used to get in the past whenever a Hololive member would use your art. It almost feels like nobody cares anymore. And that's not a bad thing. It still feels good to have them follow your stuff. It's just like there's a definite change in the VTubing community in terms of the fan side, where it feels like they're a lot less supportive. Yeah, essentially, like, and that's very normal. It's kind of one of those things, like people get mad at Disney all the time, like, oh, Disney attacks artists. It's like, well, to be fair, artists technically aren't legally allowed to make fan art. I know that sounds terrible, but like most companies understand that, like, to a degree, that fan art is a good thing because it provides like fan interaction, it gets other fans excited, it brings things like fan art is beneficial. It's only whenever like artists start like mass producing it that it runs into an issue. You know what I mean? Like if you are making money purely off the backs of another company's work in a way that's like mass production and like you turn it into a company, that's where it gets dicey, right? It's typically why large merchandise companies have to go to the VTubing agency or the company directly to ask for a licensing agreement to sell it, and then the company as well gets a cut of everything. Um, so as long as you're not in mass producing things, people are fine. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I understand what you're getting at. But it's one of those things where you don't always know who the person you're retweeting is. There have been some artists in the past who have been, how do you say, like, not like the best person online. And the worst part is it does blow back on the agency a bit. So they do have to be choosy about who they support. Um so why I get what you're saying, I do also understand the business side of why you wouldn't do that. So I harbor no ill will for it. But I guess it's just my personal opinion, right? Like I don't get to decide what's okay versus what's not okay. I just get to say what's okay for me. Let's see here. Yeah, I totally agree. Um and I'm one of those people who's like built stress. Like my life is just one big pile of stress, and that's mainly due to autism and like the fact that I'm like prone to anxiety attacks. But that's just part of who I am. I've learned to cope. Do I want to learn to cope? No, I would love an instant cure, please. One cure to anxiety, please. I'll take that shit to go. But the reality is it's just not how life works. I Those of you who follow Twitter know about the fact that I was kind of taken for a ride by a merch company one time. But I don't know if I actually harbor any true ill will toward them. It's just kind of like I felt like, well, that's unfortunate. Because when you make official merch for Shoujo, and it just feels like back when they were still like a thing and not seen as what they are now. It was a really big deal, and it led to nothing. I was just kind of used. That was a real bummer. But people were trying to tell me, well, like, let the talent know. They'd be upset. To which I go, the talent wasn't even aware who the artist was, because apparently because somebody got in contact with me who was former like Bishoujo like marketing and whatnot, and apparently they were told that it was an in-house artist who worked on it. So they straight up lied to Bishoujo and told them that like they had this in-house team of artists, but what they were actually doing was commissioning smaller artists like me to make artwork for it. And then because they said it was an in-house artist and they made us promise that we wouldn't say that we worked on it, it became a situation where we couldn't say that we worked on it. And as far as Shoujo was concerned, they had a team of artists who worked on everything. But when the reality, it was just me and other random artists. Like, we did it. And we were paid commission prices to do it. We weren't paid like an in-house salary or anything. So Yeah, that was definitely an interesting thing, and I had completely forgotten about it until like somebody had put it in my zeitgeist and like my brain that it had happened. Zeitgeist is probably the wrong saying, but anyway, um, no, I like it sucked, but like it ended up getting resolved. I actually got a follow from Silvervale over it, which I was surprised by that because that was nice. Actually, my absolute favorite VTuber who ever followed me is Chibidoki. Chibidoki is 100% my style of humor. Just pure, unadulterated chaos. That is up my freaking alley, man. So it's like when she followed me, I was like, yeah. that the gremlin follows me. Let's see here. We're gonna adjust because I don't know if I like the way it's draped. It's not fully, doesn't feel perfect. Have it go down like. There we are. That's a little better. I love implying perspective. Let's see here. There we go. Now we have an awesome amount of gravity. I keep accidentally pressing the Windows key when I try to hit Control, and it keeps opening up stupid freaking Microsoft Teams. I love drawing Bay with long hair. Let's see here. Hello! How are you? Okay, we are going to now do this because her tail is now officially behind her hair. So now we are going to start drawing a bit of kind of a tie in the hair. Oh, yeah. So now we are going to do the ears. I hit Microsoft Teams again. Woo! Ooh, we got a dark song. That's good. Just slightly using liquify tool. Yeah, you want to know the worst part? This is essentially like you say skip the line art. This is what my sketch looks like. This is how I sketch. Oh. Like sketching for me is just line art that's a bit messier. Yeah. You have an OC that I draw. I do. There is an OC that I designed named Nozumi. And she is oh goodness, how do I even explain her? So I like I've always been a fan of like magic in anything. So I have her kind of as a spellcaster, but she was born without any like any acumen or like any talent for magic whatsoever. So she like it's kind of like how warlocks make pacts to gain power. She did that, but like the downside was she couldn't the consequence was she couldn't speak anymore. But because she was basically given so much overwhelming like magical energy, she has overflow. Like the you know how in anime they have like the eyes where the magic overflows. It's that, but like she learned to control the overflow. So the overflow will say what her emotions are based purely on the shape of the overflow expelling from the eye, which is something I thought was cool. So like a mute character who communicates through the magic overflow coming out of them. We're going to do slight adjustments real quick to the final. Alrighty, that's the basic idea. We're now going to go in and do some base colors. Oh yes, I do have some art of her. Let me see if I can open it up in the art program real fast, just to kind of give you an idea. It's actually my icon is of the character. Oh, I don't have the original thing I used. Oh, that's because it's on my old computer that's busted. I have this one, but I have no idea if it's gonna get me bonked by Twitch because it's a bit on the risque side. So what I'm gonna instead do is I'm gonna open up one that I know is at least not completely bad. So we'll do this one. So this is kind of a rough. This is the character. So go ahead and take a look and then tell me what you think. So this is Nozomi Ishikawa. Exit out real quick and go back to what I was doing. Yeah. I love anything with red and blue. Thank you. Yeah, oh yes, butterflies, like they're an accent. So they're basically always present. Yeah. All right. Anyway, now we are doing base colors. We are getting rid of all the guides. We don't need them anymore. Goodbye, guides. I'm gonna save real quick so I don't lose everything. Hide that. Now let's start adding the base colors. Now, you'll notice I use a lot of folders. I try to stay as organized as humanly possible. And it's best to do it as you go as opposed to trying to reorganize everything later. Oh, no problem with distracting. Tangents aren't necessarily a bad thing. Oh, I actually know this song. I actually like this one. There we are. Getting there. I like how the more like intense I get in what I'm doing, the more I forget to breathe for some reason. I'm not even joking. That big exhale was because I stopped breathing. This isn't like I've got so many quirks when I draw. The more like into something I get, I literally forget to breathe. Crazy. Let's see here. So, I've lately been drawing a bunch of characters with like black clothes on, and this is intentional. If you draw white clothes on Twitter right now, it'll sometimes flag it as skin. It's really weird. So I try to avoid it just entirely. At least until like it starts to like figure itself out. You know what I mean? A few artists called me crazy until they started getting hit by it too, and they're like, "Oh, you weren't joking." I was like, "Yeah, I wasn't joking." Twitter flags like white clothes sometimes uh as skin, especially if you have very warm colors in your artwork. Because as we all know, Grok doesn't make any mistakes ever. It's perfect. It'll never make a mistake. Ever. It's too good. Yeah. Thanks, Todd Howard. We're going to make the skirt slightly darker. Oh, stretch, stretch, stretch. Drink my totally actually water for real. Let's see here. There we go. Oh. We're gonna make this artwork very warm in terms of colors, so we'll like go back in and kind of do some adjustments later in post-processing. Itchy nose. Itchy, itchy. Yeah. I love steak. Medium well. Yeah. Good grief. Neighbors are, it's almost 9 o'clock here and they're still going on. Right. Winter's coming. Winter came. Winter came all over my yard. Disgusting. There we go. Now, in terms of leggings, we are going way more brown. And like I said, like later on during the rendering, we're going to imply the rips in the fabric using pure color. All right. Just the color of the skirt to be a little less blue. There we go. That's better. I don't think so. I think the tail's correct. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it. Okay, let's start adding the hair and then we'll move on to the eyes. Let's see here. Also, we're going to be incorporating one more 3D object into this artwork in the finish. We are going to put some kind of bed of some kind, maybe, like implying like draping curtains, and then behind it a mirror. Not a mirror, a window. We'll probably do that. And then that'll kind of complete everything. I'm gonna do one more thing. Bay actually doesn't have solid colored skin in her ears. She actually has kind of a secondary peach color that kind of aligns the rim like that. We're gonna adjust the color, and then yeah, there we go. We're gonna adjust it. It's like just Correct. There we go. Yeah, that's more correct. Okay, now we go on to the hair. So it's actually processing that's going to bring the colors out. Typically, I don't go in straight with saturated colors. I fix the colors later. Um, because when you make things glow, especially with like the overlay feature or hard light layer, it adds saturation back to it based on whatever it's touching. So if you start with too much saturation, you can accidentally turn it into an like overblown mess. Like it's just shot with color. So it's actually best if you do use post-processing testing to fix your artwork like I do, to specifically make it a little bit duller and add the color back in later. Let's see here. As we discussed earlier in the stream, where I hit my social limit, I'm slowly hitting it now. My brain is kind of quieting a bit. Oh, I'm not ending yet. I want to get to a stopping point first. I want to at least get the base colors in minimum. And I have to build endurance. Like typically, like I haven't been as social as I've been in the past. And that's because like I'm typically home alone now, and get most of my social stuff done at work. So I have to like build up endurance for like the long calls that I'm used to, or at least used to be part of. There we go. Oh, stretch, 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 stretch. Her tail is not going through her shirt. I'm confused where you're seeing that. Oh, well, the best way to describe it is there's a tail hole in a lot of these outfits. Whenever you're drawing a character with a tail, it's implied that there's a tail. Typically, whenever I draw a character from behind, I leave a hole for the tail. It's a bit of a furry thing. Yeah. So, but we are close to being done. I just got to get a few more colors in before we sign off. By the way, I may not have a furry avatar, but I am 100% like, yeah. I've never had a fursona per se, but like 100% I'm a furry. For sure. There's no question about it. What animal? I have no idea, man. Like I am probably like a dog of some kind, like some kind of golden retriever. That's just my freaking personality, man. 100% some type of lupine of some sort. That would be my guess if I were to do one. It would be a lupine of some kind. Like I said, it's the hole isn't a but like okay. Um the way she's positioned, it would be more positioned down. Yeah, no, it works for me. It 100%. Every time I do that verbal tick of I sound like I'm starting the theme songs for SpongeBob. Just the who lives in a pineapple under the sea? I don't know, dude. Nautical nonsense be something I wish. I plop on the deck and flop like a fish. It's pretty weird, man. Okay, now the eyes. Oh, stretching, stretching, stretching. We're going to also add more detail so we can see the necklace of it. Two sets of ears, yep. Okay. Eye time. Yeah, it's weird, but that's like an anime thing because like in anime they with the ears they either hide it through the hair or if they don't do that they just give them a set of human ears as well. Um, I love pointing that out to my best friend because it drives him insane. He's like, "Why? Why?" And I'm just like, "I don't know, man." Okay. Oh, stretch, stretch, stretch. So that's the basic idea. Little touch-ups here. Okay, just thinking real quick. Thing real quick. I might rotate it to give it some depth. Just gonna add a bit of setup for whenever it's time to. Oop, bump my microphone. Ready. Little bit of processing here. See what I mean? Adding that hard light layer, bringing out all the color again. I could see that. I could see AI being used for that for sure. Thank you. Basic idea. Now we're gonna kind of imply some rips in the shirt. So I typically draw the character without clothes and draw the clothes on, unless like I just have a reference that I'm like kind of just doing too much with. But typically you want to just draw the character's body first and then add the clothes on later. Yeah, I'm about to turn off the stream anyway, but thank you for stopping by. Just kind of adding finishing touches before I hop off. There we go. Now we kind of have the basic idea. We're going to separate the thing from the background look. Let's see here. There we go. All right. What can I add before I head out? Let's see. I'm trying to think of what I could. Almost there. We're going to make very yellow. And just it's the spot, right? And lastly, we're gonna put everything together. Yeah, for sure. That tattered look is my favorite. Oh. There we go. Now we're gonna add chromatic abrasion, and we are probably gonna call it for today. Righty. Well, with that, I think I'm going to call this a stream, and we will pick back up next time. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. It was great. Thanks for hanging out with me. See you guys next time. Bye.